Assalamualaikum and welcome everyone to our forum today. I am Hariz as the moderator, and we are gathered here to discuss the efficacy of learning modalities in the post-2020 era. Back then, we all used to be in formal classroom settings. Nowadays, online learning has become a norm around the globe. However, one question still remains: which is more effective? Today, we have 3 teacher trainees that all have experienced both online and face-to-face learning. Let's get to know them first. Now, here we have Muiz representing the online learning. Then we have Hariz from panel 2 representing face-to-face learning. And finally, on panel 3, we have Amierul with the neutral perspectives. Alright, without further ado, thank you for joining us in this forum. Now, let us begin our discussion. So, Muiz, the stage is yours.
Okay, so thank you our moderator, Khalid. First of all, Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. So it's lovely being here today to discuss this topic with you all.
Yes.
So in my view, the primary point of effectiveness should be accessibility and flexibility. As we all know, traditional classrooms require students to be physically present at a specific place and time. However, online learning will allow students to access educational materials anytime and anywhere. And this flexibility is particularly beneficial for students who may be working part-time, individuals with family responsibilities, or learners living in rural or remote areas. So, for example, a student who misses a live class due to personal commitments, they can simply watch the recorded lecture later on. So this ensures that learning continues without interruption. So education is no longer limited by geographical boundaries, making learning opportunities more inclusive to the students. That's all from me.
Thank you, Muiz. I see. So, in other words, with online learning, learning where and whenever we want has become possible. It breaks the chain of formal classroom setting. Now, how about you, Hariz? What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Khalid, and my 2 panels beside me. I do agree with the points given by Muiz. However, I do have some inquiries about accessibility. Online learning requires a gadget or a smartphone, at the very least, and an internet connection for students to start learning digitally. Although we are living in a digital era, unfortunately, not everyone is able to afford a digital device, especially people from a harsh background. Another point is the poor internet connection in rural or remote areas. This may be because not all areas have radio towers to help with internet connection. How can the students do online learning if they don't have the key tools to access the learning materials? These barriers are why I firmly believe that face-to-face learning remains more effective. We use the traditional method of learning from books and classrooms. Not only is there no digital inequality, but it also supports students' academic, social, and emotional development. So, in my point of view, face-to-face learning allows immediate and meaningful interaction between teachers and students. Communication is not limited to spoken words. It also involves facial expressions, gestures, and body language. Teachers can quickly notice confusion, boredom, or misunderstanding and adjust their teaching accordingly. Right, so I'll give an example. When students appear confused, teacher can instantly re-explain concepts using different examples. This real-time feedback helps with enhancing students' comprehension and prevents learning gaps. Not only that, it also can strengthen the bond between the teacher and students as they can communicate directly, right?
Yes.
This can also work in vice versa. The students can ask the teacher directly in the classroom to better understand a certain topic. That's all from me, thank you.
Well, interesting points from Hariz there. So he emphasized that communication between students and teachers is more important as it can make the lesson more meaningful. Now Amierul, do you have any comments that you would like to share with us?
Thank you, Khaled. After listening to these two arguments, there are some things that I have to disagree with. First being the digital inequality. I believe nowadays digital inequality is no longer about who has a digital device, but more towards who has the better gadgets. However, in education, that does not matter. This means that even a family with a lower income can and should have one gadget at least to allow the children to learn. Let it be a cheap smartphone or a laptop from 6-7 years ago. As long as it's functioning, the student can use it to do online learning. As for the internet connection, a radio tower signal can travel up to 160 km and above. Even if the radio tower is far away from a rural area, the students can still access the digital learning material with a decent connection. Another thing that I must point out is that immediate and meaningful interaction can be benefit from both online learning and face-to-face learning. What I'm trying to say is both learning involve interaction between students and teachers. Even if it's a pre-recorded lesson, students are allowed to ask the teachers by contacting the teacher personally or leaving a comment or regarding the lesson in the space provided in the video.
Oh, I see. So, even with a lower end or old gadget with a decent internet connection, students can still learn with meaning and interactions are possible for both learning and what he emphasized. Now, Hariz,
Yes.
do you have any other points that you would like to share with us?
Yes, I do, Khaled. In my opinion, physical classroom promote active engagement and collaboration. Learning is often more dynamic when students participate in discussions, debates, and group activities. These interactions help students develop essential soft skills such as teamwork, leadership, and communication. Although online platforms offer discussion tools, they cannot fully replicate the spontaneity and energy of in-person conversations. Face-to-face interaction creates a stronger sense of community and belonging among students.
Alright, so Hariz argues that direct interaction can help students with engagement and collaboration between peers as they are able to work in a team efficiently. So, yes. What is? Alright, so what do you think about this, Muiz?
Okay, so again, thank you, Khalid, our moderator. So I appreciate the point raised by Hariz. And when we look at online versus face-to-face learning, I believe we have to consider how each one affects a student's ability to actually succeed. So starting with online learning, the biggest advantage is the freedom it gives us in terms of pacing and personalization. In a normal classroom, if a teacher speaks too fast, that information is gone forever. But online we have rewatchability. We can pause, we can rewind and listen to difficult concepts until we truly understand them. This is a game changer for different learning styles. We can use our own digital tools like translation apps or speech to text, which aren't always available in a physical room. Plus, we can study when our energy is the highest, whether that's early in the morning or late at night, rather than forcing our brains to work on a fixed school schedule. We also have to talk about the financial and logistical savings. So education is expensive, of course, but we often forget the hidden costs of physical school. Parking fees, bus passes, professional clothes, and buying lunch every day. So online learning will give us geographic freedom. You can get a world-class education without the massive cost of moving to a new city or paying for a dorm. Most importantly, it gives us a time wealth. If you save just 2 hours a day by not commuting to class, that is 10 hours a week you can use for extra study, sleep, or a part-time job. So on top of that, it future-proofs our careers by using Zoom, Slack, and digital databases every day. We are learning the exact skills needed for the modern remote workforce. However, we cannot ignore the essential benefits of face-to-face learning. There is a human element that a screen simply cannot replace. In person, you get instant feedback. You can see a teacher's body language, just like how Hariz mentioned earlier, and get an answer to a question in 5 seconds instead of waiting hours for an email. Some of the best learning doesn't even happen during the lesson. It happens during spontaneous discussions in the hallway or over coffee. So this is how we build real networks and make lifelong friends. There is also the issue of environment and discipline. For many of us, walking onto a campus acts as a study mode trigger. Your brain knows it is time to work. At home, your brain thinks it is time to rest, to relax, and you have constant distraction like televisions, your phone, or family members. In a classroom, you have good peer pressure. Seeing your classmates working hard will motivate you to keep going, whereas online, it's easy to feel like you are the only one struggling to study. So I agree that engagement and collaboration are important elements of effective learning. However, I would respectfully argue that online learning is equally capable of fostering collaboration, although it occurs in different forms. For instance, online platforms such as virtual breakout rooms, shared documents, and collaborative whiteboards allow students to work together simultaneously, even when they are physically apart. In fact, online collaboration encourages students to communicate more clearly because they must organize their ideas in written or digital formats. Another point I would like to highlight is learner autonomy. Online learning encourages students to take responsibility for their own progress. Students would learn to manage deadlines, organize schedules, and independently search for additional learning materials. These are essential for lifelong learning skills. Moreover, online learning provides diverse learning resources. Students are not limited to a single textbook or classroom explanation. They can also access videos, academic articles, educational simulation, and global learning communities. So this exposure will broaden students' perspective beyond local classroom context. I would also like to add that online learning supports inclusive education. Students who experience anxiety in crowded classroom or those with physical limitation may feel more comfortable participating in online environment. Finally, we have to consider practical and also mental health need for the student. You cannot learn hands-on subjects like chemistry, surgery, or mechanics through a screen. You need kinesthetic learning, where you could actually touch the tools. And from a mental health perspective, physical school provides a social anchor. It prevents a total isolation and loneliness that many online students will face. So, in conclusion, I don't think one is better than the other. Instead, I believe the most effective system is a blended approach. We should use online learning for the flexibility and saving it offers, but still keep the physical campus for the social connection and hands-on practice. The goal should be to make education accessible to everyone, no matter their situation. If I may ask, Hariz, do you think traditional classroom always accommodate different learning speeds effectively?
Thank you, Muiz, for the question. So, I'll pass it to Khalid first. Do you want to say anything, Khalid?
Actually, I think I do. Now, because that is an interesting question regarding inclusivity and learning pace.
Thank you.
I think I should still answer. I think he has
Alright.
answered.
Great, thank you, Muiz. I acknowledge the advantages mentioned by you, especially regarding access to resources. However, I would argue that face-to-face classrooms provide something equally important: guided learning support. In physical classroom, teachers can immediately adjust their teaching strategies when students struggle. For example, teachers may simplify explanations, use gestures, or provide additional examples based on students' reactions. This adaptive teaching happens naturally through observation. Furthermore, face-to-face learning promotes social learning, where students learn not only from teachers, but also from peers through observation and discussions. These spontaneous interactions help students develop confidence, empathy, and communication skills. Another point I would like to add is learning discipline. Structured classroom environments help students maintain focus. When students physically attend class, they are mentally prepared to learn, whereas online environment may include distractions such as social media or home responsibilities. Additionally, practical subjects benefit greatly from physical presence. Science experiments, teaching demonstrations, and performance-based activities requires hand-on experience that cannot always be replicated virtually. However, I would like to seek clarification from Muiz. How can online learning ensure students remain academically honest during assessments? What do you think, Muiz? And Khalid, also, if you want to answer.
So, honestly, I would leave that question. I would personally forward that question to Muiz, as he has more knowledge. But that was wonderful sharing from our friend Hariz.
Thank you.
So, Muiz,
Okay. So thank you, moderator, and also Hariz for raising the issue. I agree that academic honesty is an important challenge. Nevertheless, online learning has developed several solutions. For example, educators now use project-based assessment, open book examination, and reflective assignments that focus on critical thinking rather than just memorization. These assessment types reduce opportunities for cheating while promoting deeper learning among the students. Additionally, online platforms provide plagiarism detection software and time assessment to maintain academic standards. I would also argue that assessment integrity is not solely an online issue. Academic dishonesty can also occur in traditional classrooms. Therefore, the focus should be on designing meaningful assessment rather than blaming the learning mode.
Well, thank you, Muiz. That was wonderful, and we can see that assessment methods also influence effectiveness. Now, Amierul, would you like to share your perspective after hearing both sides?
Thank you, Khalid. After listening carefully from both sides, I believe both panelists highlight an essential aspect of effective learning. I agree with Muiz that online learning promotes independencies, flexibility, and digital competence, while at the same time, I support Hari's arguments that emotional interaction and structured environments still remains important for students' development. Therefore, instead of viewing these approaches as opposite or individually, I propose that effectiveness depends on learning objectives, learning characteristics, and teaching strategies. For example, online learning is more effective for theoretical explanation, revision, and independent research, while for face-to-face learning, it's a bit different. It's more effective for collaborative discussion, mentoring, and practical application. So, I would say that this combination is known as blended learning, which integrates the strength of both approaches, online learning and face-to-face learning. So, if I may negotiate a shared understanding, would both panelists agree that educators should choose learning modes based on instructional goals rather than preferences? What both of you think, Muiz and Hariz?
I would like to go first. So yes, I strongly agree with Amierul. So technology should be used strategically to enhance learning outcomes, not simply for convenience. That is my opinion.
I totally agree with Muiz and Amierul. To be honest, I agree as well. When used appropriately, online tools can complement classroom learning rather than replace it, right? So I think that it both works, right? Okay.
Wow. Well, you have been here for quite a while now. So thank you for all three of you now. It is encouraging to see the consensus forming among our panelists here, all three of them. Before we conclude, let us explore one final aspect, the future of learning. Now, in your opinion, what will learning be like in the next 10 years? What do you think?
You want to go first, Muiz?
I would like to go first.
You go first.
Okay, so in my opinion, future education will become increasingly digital and more personalized. Artificial intelligence and adaptive learning platforms may help tailor lessons according to individual student needs. And online learning will likely become a permanent component of education system worldwide. And that's from me.
Alright, thank you, Muiz. I totally see eye to eye with you. From my perspective, physical classroom will remain relevant because humans naturally learn through social interaction. However, classrooms may integrate more technology to support teaching rather than replace teachers. How about you, Amierul? What do you think?
Thank you, Hariz. Well, personally, I believe that the future lies in flexibility, where education system will adopt hybrid models where students move between online and physical classroom environments depending on their learning purposes. I believe that both online and face-to-face learning can be used in the future.
It's wonderful.
That's a good idea.
Thank you for the opinion from Amierul. So I would like to conclude, online learning is effective because it expands accessibility, promotes independence, and also it prepares learners for a digital society. And how about you, Hariz?
Yes, I totally agree with all of you. Face-to-face learning remains essential due to direct interaction, emotional engagement, and structured learning experiences. How about you, Amierul? Do you want to wrap up anything?
Yes, of course. And I would like to agree with all of you, of course, because both approaches are valuable and their integration offers the most balanced and effective educational experience.
That's all.
Yes,
Yes, that's all.
That's so great. Okay, so now thank you to all of our panelists for this meaningful academic discussion. Today's forum demonstrated how respectful disagreement, clarification, and negotiation can lead to deeper understanding within us based on our topic today. Ultimately, effectiveness in education depends not on choosing one method over another, but how educators combine approaches to meet learners' diverse needs. Do you all agree with that?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Right. So, I believe that is all from us today. Wherever you're watching, I hope you are having a fantastic day. I hope you are having a fantastic morning, evening, or even night. Don't you agree?
Yes.
We always fasting. So everyone, please stay safe, take care of yourself, and have a wonderful and smart life.
Yes.
Thank you, and assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.